Welcome to Irkutsk Ice Truckers News. I'm James Green, work for IIT. I'm filling in for Everett Polinsky, who usually runs our nightly news broadcast. But we got some important news to share with you today about something that our intelligence agents managed to gather. And I won't exactly say how we got it, but it's something that you'll probably find pretty interesting. Being that we're a Catholic satirical, oh wait, I didn't say that, did I? We're a Catholic news source. You probably all know about the Society of St. Pius X, that group founded by Archbishop Lefebvre back in, ultimately the late 1960s. Was it kind of traditionalist seminary that he ran, how he ultimately, the French hierarchy tried to shut it down. So you probably know the whole story up till the unilateral consecrations when he consecrated 4 bishops and all the whole drama around that. You know how after that period, the society has had kind of a questionable canonical status with relationship to the church. The 4 bishops that he Lefebvre consecrated were excommunicated, but those excommunications were later lifted, and like Pope Benedict started negotiating with the society, but then later on, Francis gave them even continued the negotiations, officially gave them some official faculties, seemingly fixing some of the issues, but there's still some question of their canonical status. Well, under Pope Leo XIV, IIT has discovered that those negotiations have been continuing. And our intelligence agents, assets, we won't exactly didn't tell you how we acquired this document, but we acquired a document of the official Society of St. Pius X demands that they made upon the Vatican in the case of any potential normalization of relationship between the society and the Vatican. So we recovered this list. It's the list of the 13 demands that the Society of St. Pius X is trying to place upon the Vatican. We're going to share a lot of those with you on our nightly news broadcast. So, number 1 of the official list of SSPX negotiation demands. Number 1, the SSPX will have whatever canonical status, congregation, personal prelature, religious order, vicariate, or ordinariate, whichever one of those that their own canon lawyers deem best for them to have. Oh, interesting. They probably actually understand what all those terms mean better than the Vatican canonists, to be honest, so not really much of a demand. Number 2, the Society of St. Pius X will gain at least a 51% ownership stake in the priestly fraternity of St. Peter, known to you probably better as the SSP. And the society will gain the ability to, quote-unquote, discipline the priests in the fraternity who, quote-unquote, schismed from the society. This one's a little murkier. It's getting into kind of internal private politics. I don't know. This is an internal dispute. It's an interesting demand. I'm probably not going to comment on it. I don't know if I really ought to on this kind of internal matter dispute between the SSPX and the SSP, but looks like they're going big with that one. Okay, number 3, Angelus Press, the publisher associated with the SSPX, will, quote, become the official publisher for all new encyclicals and documents issued by the Pope or the official Vatican dicasteries. Interesting here. Looks like their goal is business-oriented. It's business. It's all about business. I mean, well, there might be some positives here. Angelus Press probably uses better paper and has better typesetting than the Vatican. And given their traditionalist nature, I don't think they run a Novus Ordo website the same way the Vatican just did when they Novus Ordo'd their website, as you all know from reading IrkutsIceTruckers.com. They've recently created this crazy designed by committee Protestant influence bland using sans serif fonts with no theological depth website. I bet the Angelus Press website isn't the same as this modernist Novus Ordo one. So maybe it makes sense that they hand it over to Angelus Press. But why don't they actually go all the way? Make them be in charge of all of the Vatican communications. I don't know. Big demand, but maybe one that makes sense. Okay. Request/demand number 4. Traditionis Custodes will be repealed. Okay, something I think we all can agree on, no matter what we think about the society. Number 5 is also a pretty weird one, but This is the quote-unquote SSPX resistance. This is really, really deep Catholic lore, if you've ever heard about. Well, very few Catholics know about the SSPX. Far fewer, probably not even all SSPXers, know about the SSPX resistance. This is actually a pretty crazy story. It's basically the story of the SSPX seemingly repeated. A subgroup within the society claims that the society is becoming too modernist and splits off. It's the basis. There's a lot of politics in it, but I guess the society is trying to exterminate them as part of their official demand here. They will officially excommunicate the SSPX resistance. I guess that means that the supply jurisdiction argument doesn't apply to the SSPX resistance. I guess they're going for the jugular with that one. Okay, that's demand number 5. Number 6, this is a big one. Archbishop Lefebvre will be canonized within 1 year. In the footnote to this demand on their official document, they also want him named an official doctor of the church within, 2.5 years of the finalization of this agreement. And it looks like they're asking for St. John Vianney to be replaced by Lefebvre as the patron saint of priests. Well, interesting. And wait, am I reading that right? It's this on the document. They want him officially listed as a doctor of the church. Not just a doctor of the church, as one of the church fathers. Okay, that's kind of a big one. It's kind of a big one, but I mean, it's something they would want, would really validate their case. Okay, this next one is kind of a little bit wonky. Number 7, Pope John Paul II's bull of excommunication against Archbishop Lefebvre will be burned publicly in St. Peter's Square. And they want the ceremony live streamed, but with Bishop Martin and Father James Martin. Two really weirdly particular names to be forced to watch the ceremony. And in the footnote to this demand, they're also asking for Nostra Aetate Dignitatis Humanae, if they cannot be properly reconciled with tradition, to be burned in St. Peter's Square as well. Okay, a little bit more provocative, a little more showy. But that was demand number 7. Number 8 is affecting the liturgical calendar. So they want Vatican II, Pope St. John the 23rd, and Pope St. Paul VI to remain having commemorations in the liturgical calendar, but to change those days to days of fasting and mourning. They say they want to remember them, but to mourn their memory. Okay, I guess the church could use a few more fasting and commemoration days. It is, but that's kind of their demand. Demand number 8. We'll move on to demand number 9. This one is kind of political, but it's the SSPX will receive as many bishops of their own choice as they deem necessary to their mission, plus a voting majority of cardinals in the College of Cardinals. This will, quote, ensure that the Vatican can't renege on any deal that they make. Besides, Rome will be eternal Rome again if the next pope is an SSPX pope, assuming that they use that majority to their advantage. So the SSPX would claim, right? Number 10, the Immaculata in St. Mary's, Kansas, the well-known Society of St. Pius X run town, which has their really giant church. I know some people call it modernist, others call it beautiful, but like the hardliners really call it modernist. I guess you can't please everybody, but that will be the official cathedral shrine of a new SSPX run diocese encompassing the town. This number 10 might pose a little bit of a problem for position number 1, depending on what official canonical status they have. It would be odd to have a religious order running a diocese, which perhaps seems to say that their canon lawyers might be trying to set themselves up as a vicariate, or maybe they're actually going after becoming a patriarch of their own within the church, like becoming, although I don't know canon law anywhere near as well as either the Vatican canonists or the Society canonists would, but that would seemingly what it would imply if they make the Immaculata Church an official cathedral shrine. But I mean, the funny part about that being how Catholic that town is, or how SSPX run, and that town is, there's many practicing Catholics in that town as there are in most dioceses already. So I guess this wouldn't be asking much to make it its own diocese. Okay, number 11 is pretty provocative and personal. Any Catholics who speak badly about the Society of St. Pius X will receive a personal inquisitory visit from Kennedy Hall. imagining this one now. I'm just asking questions. Nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about, unless you say anything bad about us or about us Canadians. We're Canadians, are kind people. Usually. Well, I guess this one, I find it a little hilarious to imagine, but I guess as we all know, Kennedy Hall is secretly on the inside of everything that goes on within the church. We know he's one of the biggest defenders of the SSPX, but we also know that he's secretly been negotiating with Cardinal Burke for years. And it was his support, him personally, that swung the last conclave in Pope Leo XIV's favor, that secret deal that he made with Cardinal Burke. Though I guess this is their top intelligence asset, and they want, as part of their official demand, to have him officially sent after the enemies of tradition. Okay, wow. Number 12. The SSPX will receive 10 blank bulls of excommunication, signed by the Pope, but blanked with a fill-in-the-name portion on it, free for them to use against modernist theologians or clerics of their choice. Wow. They're pretty much trying to say, why don't you give us, put us in charge of the judiciary aspect of the church? Well, okay. Well, there's a few I could think of that I'd hope that could be used against, but that is kind of a big demand. Okay, number 13, their last demand of this official list, according to the draft document, of course, that was leaked to us. All Catholics must watch the Mass of the Ages documentary, and all priests must attend a re-education seminar hosted by SSPX theologians. According to the society in the document, they claim we've got to purge the modernism out of them somehow. Okay, I think that's a pretty provocative list. Like we put, I don't know what the Vatican's going to say to all that. I mean, of course, they're going to have their own counter list of demands. Like there's some theological questions this society's definitely going to have to respond to that they didn't seem to address in their list of demands, like this whole supply jurisdiction, which is their justification for operating. There possibly being some issues with that and but so the counter proposal list is going to be pretty interesting to watch for. I hear Everett Polinsky has our FBI agent, former FBI agent that IIT has hired named Andrew Parker. He's been writing some stuff for us on the site. I think Andrew Parker's been doing some scrounging and trying to get that document for us, so we'll hopefully be able to leak that to you. But again, pretty provocative list the society's put out. That's the big news tonight. Of course, Orthodox Ice Truckers is potentially in a period of change, so if you continue, if you've been reading with us for a while, you probably recognize our old logo, the one we've been operating under, our old name. We're pondering a switch because we've been growing quite a bit recently to a new kind of name and branding called the Daily Anathema. We're pondering this. We're not certain on it yet, but it's something we're pondering doing. So we'll let you know if we're going to change over to that brand new name. But our reporting on our website's doing pretty popular. Sad that Everett couldn't be here to explain all the business details tonight, so he, of course, had to delegate it all to me. But check us out at irkutsice.substack.com to find more Catholic satire, Catholic news, perhaps. We do have to get our ad out of the way. We are sponsored by Orthodox Ice Trackers. They are the best place for you to go for all of your ice tracking needs. Go to irkutsicetrackers.com to have them process your shipment for you and send it anywhere in the world. But we want to thank Orthodox Ice Trackers for supporting Orthodox Ice Trackers news, and go to irkutsice.substack.com to find more Catholic satire. Thank you. This has been James Green, Special Agent Operative for the Orthodox Ice Intelligence Agency, and a temporary host here on Orthodox Ice Trackers News. Everett should be back in next week. Thank you all for watching. God bless, and good night.